So Gary, MTN, what a week for them. This massive fine. I still can't believe the magnitude of the fine, even if they don't end up paying it. Officially, that's the fine at the moment. More than the profit that they make in Nigeria, more than the revenue, double the profit of the whole group. And now we've a statement this afternoon, the JSE started an investigation into the timing of their announcement, MTN's announcement, that the Nigerian Commission had fined them 5.2 billion, looking at insider trading.
Yeah, definitely horrible week for MTN. I mean, we're chatting about it before the show. I mean, a lot of pushback coming back from the market as well around the timing of that SENS announcement. So I think it was expected that the JSE was going to have to do some sort of investigation.
When you say pushback, what have you?
I mean, you could see it immediately on social media channels. I mean, I think every trader now has to have the sort of wire terminal and Twitter running
at the same time.
And you could see traders coming out. What's going on in MTN? What's this? Then at least there was links to sort of the media articles around it, and everyone going, but where's the SENS? Where's the SENS? I mean, it was hours before the SENS came out, and I mean, I don't know. It's a difficult one, and I'm sure the JSE investigation will shed more light on it. But if you look at it, it depends how MTN was notified of the fine. I mean, if they, if you think of it, if the NCC had just delivered this fine, MTN probably looked at the quantum and said, this has got to be a joke. We're not got a SENS announcement for this. But I mean, we just don't know how what the back channels were, how soon they knew about the fine. But all of this, I'm sure, will be made clear in the investigation.
What position should you be taking in MTN at the end of this week?
The end of this week, I mean, my position is quite clear. I've said it a number of times. I mean, we think that a lot of the fine has been priced in. I mean, the market cap of MTN has dropped more than the value of the fine already. There's still a lot of opportunity for them to renegotiate the fine. I mean, I know the deadline is 16th of November, but again, just the size of the fine is so ridiculous. There has to be some sort of negotiation. 3 days afterwards, it looks like it's starting to price in. I would say, for short-term traders, this is probably a nice entry into the company. Again, long-term guys, I'd probably say you can hold as well, but a lot of uncertainty still.
But 20% off in the week, basically. This must be an opportunity for some people, depending on how they think about it. But also, if you're looking at the governance here now, maybe the regulators being unreasonable, maybe they're being over tough. But as Viv Govender said last night, it's like the traffic laws or the rugby line-out. You can blow up a rugby line-out anytime, because there's so many little laws that you can say you're breaking it. Life can't carry on if you blow up every law.
But you can't use a rugby analogy. I mean,
why not?
Because, what am I going to say? What are you guys talking about? Lineups and rugby lines? What are you going on about?
All right, the principle is, like his other analogy, remember traffic.
Okay.
So there are lots of traffic bylaws, but if you are supposed to park your car 200 centimeters from the pavement and the traffic cop goes up and measures, you could apply a fine. Now,
I don't think I'll be driving with Viv anymore. You take a very laissez-faire attitude towards traffic.
If the regulators in Nigeria have taken that approach, okay, so it's like unreasonable. But if I were an MTN director, you'd be saying, guys, what's been going on here? We've got this fine. Might be unreasonable, but what didn't you do? And what about this insider trading now? I mean, it's not a good time to be at MTN.
No, definitely not. Again, I mean, if you look at the circumstances around it, I mean, obviously Standard Bank getting fines as well from the Nigerian government.
Restating numbers.
Yeah, and a lot of, it looks like the Nigerian authorities also, they've just been given the mandate, go and get us money, essentially. Because, I mean, if you look at MTN, I think it was 150 million subscribers in Nigeria that were unregistered. They had 6 months to register them all. I think this fine is based on it's 5.1 million. So, I mean, they've made a huge progress. And I mean, there has to be some sort of leniency here. I mean, again, I saw an article that we discussed that apparently one of the politicians from Nigeria was actually kidnapped, and the ransom demands were made of an MTN SIM card that was unregistered. So that sort of just threw a whole sort of political angle onto it. I don't know if that's actually confirmed reports. I did read that as well.
I mean, if that's true, that's really like pulling it, and it's just really tough. But let's stay in the telco space. Let's talk about the other big number that everyone is talking about today, 14 billion rand rejection for Cell C. What do you make of that?
Yeah, again, I think if you look at Telkom Mobile and Cell C, I think a merger there would be fantastic. And I think with OJA rejecting obviously the offer, I think it's mainly about the price that they're haggling. I believe they were looking for about 22 billion, and it was said that they were going to go up to about 18 billion, and then 14 billion was a little bit light. So I think you probably will see the guys returning to the negotiation table, and I think real synergies can be generated out of the two businesses, because I think, alone neither of them have the scale to really take on Vodacom or MTN in the South African market. So I think it's a deal that makes sense, and it's at this stage it's negotiation about the price. Look at SAB, for example. How many times did we get comeback offers? And I think we will get more.
What about the competition aspects?
Competition aspects, again, you've already got two huge players in South Africa. So I think from a competition point of view, I can't see. I mean, it probably will have to go through the commission and the tribunal. That wouldn't be a problem. But I can't see it being an issue.
Well, talking about deals and consolidations, let's pick up on this voice of the CEO of AB InBev, that's Carlos Brito. He was, of course, speaking about the deal earlier in the week as most of the markets were digesting the news of an extension by a week.
Very excited about the prospects of creating the first truly global beer company. And we believe we could achieve more together than we can apart. Together we have better growth prospects and an appealing mix of global and local brands that consumers love. We share a strong passion for brewing, a deep-seated tradition of quality and commitment to provide consumers with first-class beers that reflect many local tastes and traditions.
Gary, there's no real news here to move the markets or change perceptions. What we're seeing now, perhaps we haven't seen too often, is a massive deal, and we're seeing it grinding now into process, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely. I think you're going to see this deal grinding through for it's probably going to be at least a year, I would say. I mean, that's the kind of time frame that I've got in the back of my mind. I mean, again, we've still had no formal offer. We're really in the beginning phases of this negotiation.
And that share price, I mean, it's gone from there to there. Does it just stay there now?
I mean, what happens is obviously you've got that anchor now, the deal price. So it's 44 pounds per share. Now you've also got, I think it's 0.79, so 79p extra dividend that they can give as well, that they've allowed before the end of the year. So that actually pushes up the deal price a little bit more. You times that by the pound, you get about, I think it's about 9.15, 9.20 at the moment. And that's the price that it'll go through for. But from that, you need to minus the time value of money. So you minus all the interest and you minus the risk as well. And at the moment, it's still pricing in a lot of hurdles that they've got to go through. And it's not just the time value of money in the share price today. On
the macroeconomic front, the Fed was in focus with the Fed statement. But there seems to be a division in the camps, but those saying that there might just be a December hike and others saying it's absolutely not on the cards. Where do you stand on that one?
Well, I think it wasn't on the cards before the FOMC this week, and I think the Fed firmly shifting the focus back to say we've said all year that we're going to hike this year. We've got one meeting left. Guess which meeting it's going to happen in. But again, and before that, I mean, the federal funds futures is what everyone's looking at the moment. They were pricing in just about no chance of a rate hike this year. Suddenly, it's definitely back on the table. So. Again, I think this might be, you might get a rate hike this year. It's still definitely possible, but I think it'll be very much one and done. Because I think if you look at the actual macroeconomic situation, the inflation is not there, and I don't think it's time for them to hike yet. Again, I think if there is a hike, it's going to be a matter of them saving face. That's saying we've been saying it all year. We better just get off this zero mark.
This conversation has been had several times, and then it keeps getting pushed. It reminds me of Victor Matfield and Fareed Dupre's retirement from Springbok Rugby. It happened in 2011, if you remember.
Yes,
they both retired. Now they're both supposed to be retiring now. I don't believe it.